On today's episode, I'm going to share my 5 bold predictions for the Browns in the upcoming season here. So let's get into it with my first bold prediction for Cleveland in 2024. Bold prediction number 1, Myles Garrett goes back-to-back for Defensive Player of the Year. Last season, Garrett put together one of the best, if not the best season of his NFL career. 17 tackles for loss, 14 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, tossing a blocked field goal against the Colts as well. He was simply unstoppable. I mean, there were players that were just solely dedicated to shadowing Myles Garrett. The Tennessee Titans had to call a timeout because they had 2 tight ends dedicated to going wherever Myles Garrett was on the field, and that's just the type of player you have in Myles Garrett. Now, there have not been a lot of players to win back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year awards. The last one to do it was Aaron Donald, 2017 and 2018. Before that, J.J. Watt. And then there's a long gap until Lawrence Taylor in the early 80s, that's supposed to be, I believe, 1981 to 90 or to 82. Sorry about that. But Myles Garrett, it goes without saying, has been one of the best defensive players in football since being drafted in 2017. I mean, since being drafted, he is second in sacks. He is fourth in pressures. We'll kind of cycle through some of these awesome accolades he has put together. Tackles for loss, he is third. He has been a top 5 all-around defensive player since 2017. There's no ifs, ands, nors, buts about it. And for Garrett to win back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year awards, yeah, that'd be very tough. But if we think about the way he won the 2023 Defensive Player of the Year, it wasn't necessarily just because of his stats. I mean, we don't need to rile up Steelers fans. Like, it wasn't just whoever has the most sacks or interceptions wins the award. It's the just overall impact that he had when stepping on the field. Like the amount of game planning teams had to do for Myles Garrett, the lack of play calling teams could do because Myles Garrett was on the other side, that really started to stack up. And that does not show on PFF grades or in stats necessarily, but opposing offensive coordinators will tell you the guy they want to go up against the least is 95 in brown and orange. So now we think about this upcoming season when he hopefully is not battling a lingering shoulder injury for the last third of the year and still has 14 sacks. Oh, the ability to put together insane production next year, if healthy all year long, and the impact he has by just lining up on the defensive line and what teams have to do to deal with Myles Garrett, I think he could win back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year awards. So let me know what you think. Can he be the 4th player in NFL history to go back-to-back Defensive Player of the Year? Give me a Y for yes or an N for no down below. Bold prediction number 2, Jeudy and Amari Cooper both go over 1,000 receiving yards. Something that has only happened twice in Cleveland Browns history. Last year, Amari Cooper put together one of the best seasons of his NFL career, 1,250 yards, 5 touchdowns. He averaged 17.4 yards of reception. He was not some slant boy. He was a big play machine for Cleveland. Jeudy had 758 yards and 2 touchdowns. So a long ways to go for Jeudy to get to 1,000 yards. Now, the last duo to do it for the Browns was Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr. back in 2019. Before that, the previous duo to get over 1,000 receiving yards was Braylon Edwards and Kellen Winslow in 2007. So the Browns have an opportunity to make it third time in team history, 2 players over 1,000 receiving yards. But I'm thinking about what this offense is going to look like this upcoming season. In the arrival of Ken Dorsey, I got to envision this is all slanted towards truly maximizing, full throttle Deshaun Watson, airing the football out as Nick Chubb works his way back from a knee injury early on. And I don't think the Browns traded for Jeudy and then extended Jeudy without having a really big plan for him in place. Like goals and plays already in mind for what they can do with his services. To me, it would be malpractice to trade for a player, extend him, and then go, all right, if the ball finds your way to you, awesome. If not, no biggie, it's all hunky-dory. No, I don't think the Browns did that without having a big play in mind or two for Jeudy. So I'm confident in Amari Cooper getting to 1,000 yards. The question is, can Jerry Jeudy join Amari Cooper? And I think after everything the Browns gave up to get him, that can be done. Before we look at my third bold prediction for the season, help us reach 35,000 subscribers before training camp gets here. We're at 34,760-ish, so we're a little under 300 subs away. I invite anyone watching that has not subscribed yet, consider doing so. It's completely free, so if you don't like the content, you can always unsubscribe, although I probably shouldn't advertise that. But I love what I do here, and I'd love to see this channel grow even more. Bold prediction number 3. Nick Chubb wins Comeback Player of the Year and rushes over 1,000 yards. Chubb enters this year with a big question mark as to when his return date is scheduled for. I think it'll be in September. And if Nick Chubb even misses the first game, 2, maybe even the first 3 games, I still think he is capable of getting to 1,000 yards in a 14-ish sample size, right? We saw him do that with ease in 2021 when he missed a couple of games in the middle of the season. Now, the Comeback Player of the Year part, that's probably going to be a bit more difficult for him because he can control getting to 1,000 yards a lot easier than what the AP voters are going to vote for Comeback Player of the Year. But when you look at the candidates, because the NFL recently reminded voters after Joe Flacco won it, that Comeback Player of the Year is basically for guys coming off major injuries. Aaron Rodgers seems like the most likely candidate just because of his popularity and just notoriety altogether. But I don't think he's going to have a very good season. He's more focused on his trips to Egypt and doing God knows what in Venezuela with medicine men than playing football. Now, Deshaun Watson definitely is a candidate, although I think Nick Chubb is just a little bit more popular, and people are going to rally around that comeback story more than Watson's, if we're being honest. Burrow could definitely get it done. Richardson, I don't think, is established enough to win that. Daniel Jones, no, because he's going to suck this year because he sucks. Kirk Cousins is someone to keep an eye on coming off an Achilles tear. Justin Herbert, I don't think he missed enough time last year to truly be a comeback player. And then you've got Nick Chubb, Mike Williams, and Trevon Diggs. So obviously quarterbacks always get a little bit more attention when it comes to award voting. But if a couple of the big-name quarterbacks just don't have great years and Nick Chubb just steals the nation's hearts with his ability to bounce back from a major brutal knee injury early on in the year and then put together a 1,000-plus yard season, I think there's a really good path for Nick Chubb to win Comeback Player of the Year and give the Browns a few more pieces of hardware to add to their trophy case after last year's NFL award ceremony. Bold prediction number 4. Browns defense leads the NFL in total yards for a second straight season. The Browns were number 1 in 2023 for yards given up, and it's not easy for defenses to stay at the top of the mountain. The last time in 2022, 49ers finished number 1 in total defense, followed up in 2023, they dropped to 8. The Bills the season before that, they went from 1st to 6th. The Rams in 2020, the following year, they fell all the way to 17th. The Patriots in 2019, they went all the way to the middle of the pack, 15th. The Ravens, they had the shortest fall of any of the 5 teams the last 5 years before Cleveland, leading the defense in total yards allowed, only going from 1st to 4th. Now, it has been done before. The Seahawks, with the Legion of Boom, they were number 1 in yards allowed in 2013 and 2014. The Steelers' defense in 2011 was also number 1 the following year in 2012. And all the way before that, I think this would have been well before my time, but the Purple People Eaters for the Minnesota Vikings, 1988 to 1989, 2 straight seasons of number 1 total defense. So how are the Browns going to accomplish this? Having Jim Schwartz for a second season, it has proven to be one hell of a thing. Look at what he did in his first 2 years as the Tennessee Titans defensive coordinator. He took the 25th ranked pass defense in points allowed all the way to 11th in his second season in Nashville. When he became the Lions head coach, year 1, they were 32nd in points allowed. Year 2, 19th. How about when he took over the Eagles, which ranked 12th already? Really solid defense. Points allowed in year 2 under Schwartz, all the way to 4th. Defenses only get better with Jim Schwartz being their defensive play caller and learning his system more. So I think we could see the Browns defense somehow even find a way to be better in 2024. An improved red zone defense would help a ton in that department. But yeah, mark me down as someone who thinks this will be, I think, but don't quote me for sure, the 4th time a defense has finished first in total yards allowed back-to-back seasons. And bold prediction number 5, Jedrick Wills plays himself into a mid-season contract extension. It's got to be bold, so I'm not going to just swoop for a low-hanging fruit of a JOK extension. That's not bold enough for my liking. But a Jed Wills extension, yeah, that's definitely bold enough. Now, why would the Browns extend the left tackle that has been somewhat unpopular since being drafted in the first round of 2020? Well, they restructured his contract. They added 4 void years to his deal, 2025 all the way to 2028. Now, a void year is when you add a year to a player's contract, but they are not actually under contract for that season. But it's a way for teams to spread players' cap hits out over multiple seasons. So for the Browns to add 4 void years to Jed Wills' contract and have him have an $11.8 million cap hit despite not being on the team, currently scheduled in 2025, to me that signals that they have laid out a long runway, and now they want to fill that runway with an actual contract for Jed Wills. Like, why are you going to have all these cap hits these seasons if you don't actually think he's got a chance of being under contract for you? If you're going to have $11.8 million, $3 million, $3 million, why not actually just give him a contract during these seasons? And sure, his cap hits will go up a little bit, but you've already invested all this money into his salary cap hits for those seasons. Wouldn't you rather have the hits and the player rather than just the salary cap hits and no player at all? Now, it's no secret that Jed Wills has had some struggles in Cleveland, but he ended the year before getting injured on a really high note. Week 6 through 9, his Pro Football Focus grades, overall 64.0, pass blocking, run blocking, somehow a little bit higher than that. Only 1 sack allowed, 3 penalties. Like, I'm not going to stand here and argue that Jed Wills is a top 10 left tackle in the league. I don't believe he is. But I do believe that the Browns believe he's a really good tackle. And them extending his contract, or not extending, adding void years to his contract, to me that's one of those examples of actions speak louder than words. And the Browns were vocal when they had their press conference following the Week 4 loss last year before the bye week going into the 49ers game, where they said, we're going to stand by Jed Wills. We think he's going to turn this thing around. And he did turn it around, and then he got injured in the Cardinals game, and that was a bummer. So I think we could see Jed Wills agree to a 4-year, $40 million extension. That's an average of $10 million. Guarantee $30 million, so it's basically a 3-year, $30 million contract. Now, that's not big money, and as far as left tackles go, that's a bit of a bargain. Now, why does Jed Wills agree to this contract? Because Jed Wills has had some struggles through 4 seasons in the NFL. He's coming off knee surgery. He may be really excited to see $30 million guaranteed, knowing he has not really looked like a true franchise left tackle, and run to it. And for the Browns, they may feel like, you know what? We've got a lot of other big bills to attend to on our roster. This could be a simple way to kind of check. Well, it's not a simple box to check. Left tackle's a cornerstone position. But again, I go back to the fact that the Browns internally are a lot higher on Jed Wills than the rest of us are. So I think you could see an extension get done for him mid-season. Before we sign off and get you guys on your way, give me a bold prediction for the upcoming season. Whether it's Browns-related, NFL-related, let me know in the comment section what your bold prediction is. We bring on Trizzy Trace to pick a card. Which one do you want to go with?
7 of diamonds.
7 of diamonds?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to go with King of Spades.
I like it.
King of Spades. I invite everyone watching to play along. Get your card prediction in the chat or in the comment section. Okay. You ready? Here we go. No. And I don't think anyone in the chat got it, but some people got very close. 9 of hearts.
Ooh.
9 of hearts. All right. That will do it for us on today's show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're going to sign off and catch up with everyone later. If you enjoyed our video, give us a like down below.